So I want to do a replay analysis of a game I had with Windranger, where the lane I was playing in was incredibly difficult because it had very high kill potential, and I made the best of a very hard situation. What I know though is that right at say 12 to 15 seconds, the enemy team is probably going to go and play aggressive onto my rune, especially with the fact that they can guess that it's a solo offlane windranger, which is not very strong and has very little presence. So what I do is I wrap around this way where they can't see me, and I place down a ward over here. So you can see that just right at this spot you can block the small camp, and a lot of players end up missing this if they buy a sentry ward. So if I go on to free camera, if you place like a sentry down over here, you won't actually catch this observer because it's outside of the range, and typically this is like the one spot that a lot of people end up missing. Sometimes people place the sentry over this side of the camp, and again that misses this observer. So this is like one of the better spots, especially if players didn't see you placing down the observer there. So going back here, now the trade-off I got for this was that I don't get as good of a block in the lane. And in this lane in particular, it's where the creep wave starts is really important. But even if I got a pretty, I got barely any block there, and straight away I'm being harassed under my tower. And the thing under the tower is that you have more armor, and with Windrun, Crystal Maiden can't harass me with right clicks, like trade effectively. As well as that, I have a ring of protection, which I was going to build into our Ring of Basilius, as you can see here in my quick buy. But the thing is that there's also a Kunkka in this lane. They have clarities, and they also have the mana regen talent from Crystal Maiden. So it ends up being pretty much impossible for me to trade anything, and the only thing I can do is block creeps. And I'm still 0 experience, and you can see that these two support players are quite good at what they're doing. They're zoning me out. They don't have anything else to do because the creeps don't spawn till 1 minute, and I'm even taking harass from the Fog of War. Now the thing is that they could be probably looking right now. If we look at what Kunkka is doing, he sees that this camp is blocked. Now the thing is, what he should have done instantly was buy a sentry and deward it, but he hasn't done that yet. This is where blocking that camp became very effective, because even though the creep wave is already in a position where I don't want it, I still can't get anywhere near it. But if I couldn't pull the creep, if they were able to pull the creep wave, I wouldn't be able to do anything at all. And still, again, they're spamming out their spells, and it literally costing them close to nothing. And again, I have 0 experience. It's almost 2 minutes. Like right here, I probably should have went and got the bounty rune. And also what I haven't done is that there's an observer ward right here in the lane. Where is it? It was here anyway. Oh yeah, this is on the Radiant side. This is actually a replay bug, but you can see it on the mini map down here that there's an observer ward just right at this spot here. You can see it now. But I go back here, I missed this. So I went for the bounty runes, which was the right thing to do. And I get the bounty rune here. But what's happening right now, you can see Kunkka is going for it. And you don't really see this unless you go player perspective. And this is why you want to be looking, when you're watching replays, to look at player perspective, because you need to understand, you get a better understanding of the Fog of War, and even toggling back and forth of Radiant and Dire is very useful. But if we go over here, that I can see on the mini-map that Kunkka is over here somewhere, like he was constant there. He shows on the mini-map right there. You can go free camera. He just showed here again, another replay bug, but he's just going into the shadows right there, just on that frame. So going back here, I go to this rune, I use my Windrun, and I go and I deny this rune. And the only reason that I'm able to see up high ground again is because of this observer ward that they still haven't done anything about. So what's happening is that I was harassing the Kunkka and I started chasing him. What's pretty impressive about that play in particular is actually Kunkka's Torrent. It's a very good prediction. I was actually surprised because I play Kunkka a lot, and just this little play of very, very good prediction by this player. And still though, what's really important here is I've 0 experience, and it's almost 2 minutes. Kunkka is still level 1, and when Kunkka hits level 2, it's really hard for me to do anything in lane, just because of the fact that he can do two things. He can X marks me, and if I try and win run away, he can just call me back at any point. And they have 3 stuns in this lane. They have Torrent, Chaos Knight's first spell, and Crystal Maiden's root. Now I made a mistake right here. So as I was walking along here, instead of going along the river, the Spirit Breaker did the right thing. You can see he went this direction up along the river, but I decided to take a shortcut this way because I wanted to go up here and get the experience and gold from this ranged creep, which I was going to miss. Now the thing is, by going this direction, Chaos Knight has an observer ward up here, and he stood up here, and let's see what he does. I actually watched this already, but he stuns me right there, so straight away he gets the chance to right click me before I get a chance to win run away. Then as I'm running away, as I reach the maximum distance of his cast range, he pulls me back, so I get the little distance as possible, as far as possible. I said the same words again, but the thing is that his supports were coming to use their spells, and one of the things these supports have also done quite poorly is get levels and experience themselves. There's a very big imbalance of their lane. He's level 4, level 1 and level 1, and generally if they were level 2, so much easier to kill me. If Crystal Maiden was able to use her first spell and her second spell, she can slow me with this and then get in range for the frostbite. Overall, this is a little bit of a mistake from their side, and swapping between targets was also, if you had slightly better positioning, you could have got this kill if you were the Crystal Maiden. So I end up just going back to base and healing up, so we're just going to speed this up. Now, as I'm walking back to base, what's important is that I was looking at the lane all of the time, rather than watching myself walking back. So I would just want to show you, like, when you're going back to base, a lot of the time what you see is people clicking on the ground right in front of their hero, constantly walking back, especially when there's no way that they can die. And all you need to do is click once, and then once you're clicking there, you can observe what's going on in your lane, check heroes' items, go look at another lane, understand just generally what's going on in the map. I see a lot of times watching replays of players is that people are like spamming the ground. You're wasting these actions per minute that can be put somewhere else. And Dota is not a game that's important to have really high actions per minute, but is more so about using your actions effectively. Now, in this case, again, it's almost 4 minutes. I have 0 experience, and in general, this lane has been quite hard for me, and I might have been able to get a little bit more experience than this, but in general, what's very good about the situation here is the fact that I haven't died yet. They have super high kill potential. So what you're seeing a lot of is just this like spell harass constantly all the time. Spirit Breaker's giving me a little bit of help, and he managed to hit level 2 before me because he was going into other lanes. And just in general, like, one of the things that you can see with me doing a lot is that I'm always doing something with my actions. So for example, if you just look here at this like 10 seconds that there, I'm denying a creep. I'm attempting to deny, make it a little bit harder. I don't even get the denies just because of the fact that CK has so much more attack damage than me, and I have no attack damage items. I've only 50 attack damage, which is really low. Now the thing is, you can see deny straight away. I didn't even go to the deny, I went for a little bit of harass. But the idea is to get CK to use up whatever regen he has. So you can see that he's used his last tango, and even though it's showing the wrong hero portrait, again, he has 0 regen left, only a magic stick. So now that I've finally managed to reach level 2 and 3, I'm starting to use my power shot to do a bit of last hitting. What's important though is not to just push your wave. I see people standing very far back. They use their power shot just to harass heroes, and the bad thing about this is that not only do you push your lane, but you also manage to use your power shot to sometimes you put your ranged creep into deny range, and the other thing is you're too far back, so you're not gaining the experience from killing the creep. So pretty much what's just happening here is harass back and forth. I don't want to get involved in it, and I'm really focusing on experience. However, the thing is that there's this one little nice play that the Kunkka did, is that you watch here, the Spirit Breaker's coming in with a charge. He just X's him, and as he hits, he just pulls him straight back. So it's up to the Spirit Breaker to. It's harder for him to get into range just because he's a melee hero. Doing the X marks to hold him back is very effective. But Zeus did a pretty good predicting, like his global awareness was pretty good in that scenario to kill the CK. Now again, you can see that I'm not pushing my lane in this match in particular, because where the lane creeps are for my hero in particular are very important. Lina gets off a very good doubles hero stun, and I focus on just harassing with my power shot. And what a lot of players would do with this situation in lower brackets is they would walk back to base because they're low on mana, or go use the shrine. But the shrine, I think, is already being used at this point. So like the big mistake that I have right now is that I don't have control of the creep wave. I'm doing this on the next wave and I end up missing it, because what happens is that I think it's 7 minutes and the creep waves act differently at 7 minutes, so they come later into the lane. So what you should be doing is looking at the minimap, and when the creeps just pass the tier 1 tower on mid lane, you should be pulling them at that point. I think that as a whole the enemy team is just making a lot of mistakes at this point. And if you look at the scoreboard, it's 1 and 9. So at this point I could have easily died 2-3 times in lane. So here I'm pretty aware of what this Crystal Maiden is trying to do. I know that they have pretty high kill potential, and especially with the fact that CK has Phantasm and he has plenty of mana and Crystal Maiden is coming, I end up getting caught in range. So here you're pretty much saying that you're probably dead at this point. But I managed to win run and double shackle shot, which was essential for my escape. So here again is just out of position CK. So one of the things that I ended up doing wrong here was that I used my double shackle shot. I didn't hit a shackle shot properly, and not latching the shackle shot onto something ends up being pretty significant. So I end up using my power shot first based off someone else's stun, and I tried to get the shackle here, which was never going to work. That no way was that going to work. And if I waited like 1 or 2 seconds later, I could have hit that shackle shot no problem. But where I take advantage of this is that using focus fire. So CK has really high armor because he's going armlet with Helm of Iron Will, and I just dived the tower. And the reason why I'm able to dive the tower is because this Kunkka doesn't have any immediate stun, and even if he can X marks me or something, he's not going to do enough damage to kill me. And this Lina's stun was like perfectly timed, really good play by her. And what ends up happening is we turn this around even further. We end up getting kill on Crystal Maiden, which is incredibly good. Spirit Breaker dies, but here's where we watch this Kunkka. He's juking me, right? He runs away, but where did he go? Now, at this point, I know that Kunkka doesn't have brilliant movement speed. I haven't even been watching his items, but just by guessing, yeah, he actually has boots of speed and wind lace, so he has pretty decent movement speed, but not as good as me because I have phase boots and wind run, which gives me so much more movement speed. So at this point, where did the Kunkka go? So I could guess maybe he went up or he went down. He definitely didn't go to the left. So if I was to power shot right now, where would I use it? And what I guessed was that he's hiding in here in this trees at this point, and he actually ended up being there, which was just an incredibly good prediction. So that's just more so understanding and taking advantage of people's movement speed. And again, this is overall, like, these are the little things that allow you to get kills in Dota, and it's really important to use all of it to your advantage. So again, at this point, we're coming close to 13 minutes now, but the creep wave is nowhere near where I want it to be. There's no way I can last it down here. The other lanes are doing okay. I don't need to go to other places. If anything, the enemy team should have been able to play more aggressive and push down my tower. My tower is still at full health, which is perfect for me. They even lost some damage on their tower. Now, the thing is, I pull this creep wave, but what I do is I don't pull the entire creep wave, and I just get 2 creeps, especially this ranged creep. Now, what happens is that you will see that my lane just pushes in, and instantly the creep wave is up here, right where I wanted to get farm. And the thing is, windranger needs like an item early on to be effective, and I think any offlaner wants to be able to get their item. You can get a lot out of this like replay analysis, and I hope you learned something from it. If you enjoy this type of content, please tell me and I will like make more of it.